Chapter 1. Meet Sarah and Johnathan Jones. The alarm clock hadn't even gone off, and Johnathan Jones was already shouting up the stairs.
Sarah, come on, we'll be late.
No reply. He checked the time again, as if staring at the digital numerals might somehow slow them. It didn't. He ran a hand through his sandy hair and tried again, louder this time.
Sarah, please, traffic is going to be a nightmare.
Upstairs, in the bedroom that still smelled faintly of the perfume her mother had once worn, Sarah Jones didn't hear a word of it. Her mind was too loud. 4 months ago, a letter had arrived from a firm of solicitors in England, delivered via airmail, with that odd blue and red striped border that made everything seem more official. Inside was a death notice and a legal declaration, both written in a precise, unfriendly script. Her mother was gone. Sarah had not known she was ill. Of course, they hadn't spoken in years. Her mother had disapproved of the marriage, and proud people do not soften with age. But the greater shock came further down the page. You have inherited the family property known as Ashbourne Manor, located in the county of Kent. A manor. A family manor. In Kent. It sounded like fiction, the sort of thing reserved for BBC dramas and paperbacks with gilded covers. And yet here she was, passport on the dresser, plane tickets on the nightstand, about to board a flight to England to take possession of a house she had never seen.
Sarah.
This time she heard him.
Traffic won't be that bad,
she called back.
It's LA, honey,
came the reply, weary and resigned.
Traffic is always bad.
She sighed, shut the suitcase with a hard click, and finally called back.
Fine, I'll be right down.
A minute later she descended the stairs, athletic, composed, glasses perched neatly on her nose, carrying a tote bag filled with folders, maps, and a photocopy of the solicitor's letter. Johnathan raised an eyebrow.
Have you got everything you need?
Yes,
she said, patting the bag.
Double-checked everything. And you?
Tickets, passports, car keys, and the kids are at my sister's.
Sarah hesitated on the last step.
Do you think they'll be all right? I don't like leaving them.
They'll be fine,
he said, leaning in to kiss her cheek.
They love their auntie, and she's already threatened to feed them vegetables. They'll survive.
She smiled despite herself.
All right, let's go.
They stepped out into the Southern California morning, locked the door behind them, and pulled away from the house, turning right onto Ventura Boulevard and merging into the river of commuters and buses and exhausted parents ferrying children to summer activities. As they crawled toward the freeway on-ramp, Johnathan asked,
So, what do you think his house will look like?
Sarah blinked.
Whose house?
Your great-uncle or cousin or whoever owned it before your mom, the manor.
It's not a house, dear,
she corrected, staring out the window at the blur of palm trees.
It's a manor, and I don't know. I've never been there.
House, manor, what's the difference?
It's not a house, it's a manor.
Sarah repeated, turning to look at him.
Meaning?
Meaning it's bigger, comes with land, and has history. People with houses have neighbors. People with manors have estates.
Johnathan gave a small, impressed whistle.
Well, excuse me.
Sarah smirked.
I didn't know the family still owned it. My grandmother met my grandfather during the war, married him, moved to Buffalo. I guess someone stayed behind, probably cousins. After Grandma B passed, it must have gone to my mother, and now me.
Wild,
Johnathan murmured.
Feels like the start of a movie.
Sarah didn't answer. She wasn't sure if it felt like a movie or a warning. Extended parking was nearly full, the lot shimmering in the afternoon heat. They found a spot beneath a flickering lamp, hauled out their luggage, and navigated the terminal like people who had done it too many times to be excited, but not enough to be quick.
British Airways announces the departure of Flight 268 to London Heathrow. Passengers holding tickets for this flight are requested to proceed to Gate 52 for boarding. Please have your passports and boarding passes ready. This is the final call for passengers travelling to London.
At 6:55 p.m., they boarded a British Airways 747, a great silver whale of an aircraft with a blue tail and a Union Jack on the rudder. The sun was just beginning to bleed into the Pacific, staining the windows orange. By the time the plane finished its long taxi and clawed itself into the sky, Los Angeles was already shrinking, street grids dissolving into darkness. Johnathan fell asleep with a flimsy airline pillow folded under his chin, while Sarah sat awake beneath the tiny overhead light, reading the solicitor's letter for the 100th time. The in-flight magazine's route map showed a dotted line stretching over to England. London was a star. Kent wasn't even labelled, just a vague green shape southeast of the city. A nowhere, she thought. A place where old houses and older secrets could still survive.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to London Heathrow. Local time is 12 minutes past 1 in the afternoon. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign has been switched off. We hope you have enjoyed your flight and wish you a pleasant stay in the United Kingdom.
Heathrow Airport, arrivals hall. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. The hall smelled faintly of disinfectant and stale coffee. The queue moved in tired, uneven shuffles. Jet lag clung to everyone like damp wool. A customs officer in a navy blazer waved them forward without looking up.
Next!
They stepped to the counter. The officer opened Jonathan's passport with a bored flick.
Purpose of visit?
Johnathan cleared his throat.
Tourism.
The officer shifted his gaze to Sarah.
Business or holiday?
Holiday?
She said.
Family history research, actually.
The officer paused mid-stamp.
Family here, do you?
Sarah hesitated.
Sort of. My grandmother was English. We're visiting Kent to look around.
A non-committal grunt. The stamp struck paper with a heavy thud.
How long will you remain?
2 weeks.
Sarah answered.
Return ticket?
Johnathan slid 2 ticket folders under the glass. Another grunt. Approval this time.
Accommodation?
Johnathan answered.
London first, then Kent. We've booked a hotel for the weekend. After that, we'll find a guest house.
The officer raised one eyebrow, barely perceptible, but unmistakably judgmental.
You do well to sort lodgings before wandering off into the countryside. Bed and breakfast fill quickly this time of year.
Johnathan wasn't entirely sure if he was being advised, warned, or mocked.
Noted.
More page flipping, more stamps.
Carrying any food, plants, or animal products?
No.
Sarah said.
Any gifts or goods to declare over £180?
No, sir.
Johnathan replied. The officer stamped Sarah's passport and slid both back through the slot.
Right. Enjoy your stay. Mind the traffic. We drive on the correct side here.
Thank you.
Sarah managed.
Next!
He barked, already on to the next traveller. They walked away, dazed and rumpled. As soon as they cleared the desk, Sarah exhaled.
Wow. Do they all come with the sense of humor upgrade?
That was humor?
Johnathan asked, rubbing his eyes. Sarah tucked her passport into her bag and smiled, really smiled for the first time all day.
Well,
She said softly.
we're officially in England.
It was nearly noon by the time Sarah and Johnathan navigated the Piccadilly line, boarded a crowded train out of Charing Cross, and watched London recede behind them, the brick estates and terraces giving way to open fields and hedgerows. Sarah sat by the window, forehead against the cool glass, watching England blur past in shades of green she never associated with the United Kingdom on postcards. Johnathan thumbed through a slim blue guidebook he'd picked up at the airport gift shop.
According to this,
He said, tapping the page.
Kent is called the Garden of England. Apples, hops, orchards, oast houses, very scenic.
Sarah didn't turn from the window.
Better than Los Angeles freeways.
She murmured. Outside, white sheep dotted low hills. Small villages passed in flashes. Brick pubs, war memorials, corner shops, church spires surrounded by ancient graveyards. It felt like the opposite of California in every possible way. Older, quieter, heavier with time. 2 hours later, they changed trains at Tunbridge, then at a small rural station whose name Johnathan immediately forgot. From there they boarded a taxi, the kind that still smelled faintly of cigarettes and leather polish. The driver was in his 60s, with cheeks like worn stone and a cap pulled low over his brow. He loaded their luggage into the boot with practiced efficiency.
Where to?
He asked. Sarah handed him a note she had written neatly in block letters. Ashbourne Manor, near Little Washford, Kent. He read it once, then blinked.
Ashbourne. That old place.
He looked at them in the mirror, as if trying to determine whether they were joking. Sarah nodded.
Yes, do you know it?
Know of it.
He said, putting the taxi into gear and pulling away from the station.
Big house. Old family. Place has been empty a while, I reckon. Bit out of the way.
They drove through narrow country lanes, flanked by hedgerows that looked older than the United States itself. The sky shifted between sun and cloud in the quick, moody way of English summers. The light never quite settling. After 20 minutes, the driver slowed as the road climbed a small hill. At the crest, he stopped the car and pointed ahead with one hand.
There,
he said simply. Ashbourne Manor stood across a wide stretch of overgrown lawn, half shrouded by trees. It was 3 stories of grey stone and gables, with chimneys like watchtowers and windows that caught the sunlight in cold flashes. The roof sloped steeply, dark with age. Tendrils of ivy climbed the walls, clinging like fingers. It did not look alive, but it did not look dead either. It looked like something waiting. Johnathan exhaled.
Well, damn.
Sarah said nothing. She felt something tighten under her ribs. Not fear, not yet, but recognition, like seeing a photograph of someone you've only heard stories about. The driver cleared his throat.
I'll take you into Washford now then.
Washford?
Johnathan asked.
Nearest village. You won't be staying in that house, will you? No electricity up there, far as I know. Better try the B&B.
Sarah blinked, pulled herself back to the present.
Yes, Washford, please.
The driver nodded, shifted back into gear, and the manor disappeared behind the trees as they descended the hill. The village was small, a cluster of stone cottages, a church with a crooked spire, a pub with hanging baskets bursting with flowers, and a narrow main street paved in uneven cobblestone. The taxi rolled to a stop outside a building with a painted sign that read, Little Washford Bed and Breakfast. A woman in a floral apron stood behind the reception desk, polishing teacups. She looked up as they entered, 2 Americans with luggage and jet lag written across their faces.
Afternoon.
She said brightly.
Checking in?
Yes.
Johnathan replied, setting their bags down.
Do you have availability for a few nights?
Lucky for you, I've 2 rooms free. 1 with a double, 1 with twins. Breakfast at 8, no pets, no smoking, and no eating fish and chips on the duvet. Learned that lesson the hard way.
She winked.
Names?
Johnathan and Sarah Jones.
She slid 2 brass keys across the counter.
Room 3, just up the stairs. If you need supper, The pub across the way does a decent shepherd's pie.
Johnathan reached for his wallet.
And how much?
Pay when you leave.
She said with finality, waving him off.
We trust our guest here. You look knackered, so go on up and rest. I'll have the kettle on.
The room was small but clean, with floral wallpaper and a window overlooking rolling fields. A porcelain teapot sat on a tray beside 2 cups. Sarah dropped her bag on the quilt and sank onto the edge of the bed. Johnathan collapsed beside her, hands behind his head.
Well?
He said, staring at the ceiling.
Day 1 of the English adventure.
Sarah didn't answer immediately. She stood, crossed to the window and pushed it open. The countryside smelled of cut grass, damp earth, and rain that might come or might not. Beyond the fields and hedgerows, hidden by distance and trees, sat a manor she had never seen until today, and yet belonged to her. A house full of rooms no one had entered in years. A house full of history no one had told her. She whispered it aloud, not for him, but for herself.
Tomorrow,
She said.
we go to Ashbourne Manor.
Be sure to return next week for Chapter 2, Trouble Brewing. We'll see you then.